Hello and welcome to Nationwide. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Bassi. President Muhammadu Buhari has formally confirmed the padding of the 2016 budget proposal submitted to the National Assembly and promised to ensure that those responsible are dealt with accordingly. The president, who breaks his silence on the matter while addressing the Nigerian community in Saudi Arabia, lamented that the situation might affect the planned implementation of the zero-based budgeting format. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
For Nigerians living in Saudi Arabia, their joy knows no bounds as President Muhammadu Buhari came calling. Apart from the sanity being restored in the way of doing things in Nigeria, thereby improving the country's image abroad, the people believe that the enormous goodwill the president enjoys from Saudi authorities will make their stay in the kingdom more fulfilling.
We are keenly following the great strides your government is making to sanitize the country from endemic corruption and the crippling security challenges. We fully support your efforts on these issues of national importance. We also believe that the slowly emerging economic policies you are putting in place will bring the country out of the wood.
President Buhari, who took time to respond to the questions agitating the minds of the people about Nigeria, said some of the policy measures introduced by his administration have started yielding results, especially the implementation of the Treasury single account.
By now, the central bank has mopped 2.6 trillion naira. Now this is money which normally at the end of the year, vouchers are raised, checks are written, and then we get ready to face the following budget. But this time we have got it back, and we may end up this year by having a non-deficit budget instead of a deficit of about 2.3 trillion naira.
The Boko Haram elements, he said, have been dealt with decisively by the armed forces, while the fight against corruption is also on course.
This government will do everything within the provision of the Constitution to recover stolen funds and put an end to corrupt practices and dealing decisively with anyone found wanting.
President Buhari, however, admitted failure in the planned implementation of the zero-based budgeting format.
What we wanted to do, which we haven't succeeded, to be honest, was that every head of department ministry will come and defend his budget from zero. That means his own salary, his own allowances, to all the workers, and then their capital projects, how much the agreements, how much it was, how much progress was made, how much is required this particular financial year.
The president attributed the unfortunate situation to what he called the padding of the 2016 budgetary estimates submitted to the National Assembly.
Honestly, I was in all stages of government. Governor, minister, head of state, even chairman of PTF. I never knew what is called padding until this year. They allowed us to talk. I went and presented the budget, and then they decided to pad it. It's a very, very embarrassing and disappointing development, which I think we wouldn't allow to go unpunished.
Meanwhile, it was a prayer galore for Nigeria as President Muhammadu Buhari arrived Medina, the city of the Holy Prophet, on a private visit. State House correspondent again, Adamu Sambu, reports that the president flew in from Riyadh after the high-level talks with the Saudi monarch, King Salman bin Abdulaziz.
Just like in Riyadh, President Muhammadu Buhari was given a rousing welcome at Medina International Airport as he arrived the city of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Governor
open that section is the highest honor they can confer on a visiting leader, and that is what they did to President Muhammadu Buhari.
It is significant in so many respects. One, it provides another basis, or a very solid basis, on which further relationship could be built between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. The world is changing so fast, and the relationships will have to be further strengthened in order to pursue and also enhance areas of common interest.
President Muhammadu Buhari and his entourage used the opportunity to pray fervently for Nigeria.
There is a sense that our efforts will be crowned with success when we pray to our Creator. And this is what the President has done in the course of this visit. He has led his delegation to profusely pray for Nigeria so that God, the Creator, would look at our situation, better our economy, better our own security, help the major objectives on which platform President Muhammadu Buhari was chosen, elected by Nigerians to lead them.
While in Medina, President Buhari is also expected to visit some historical places of the Holy City. From Medina, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has called on the D8 Organization for Economic Development to liberalize the issuance of visa as a deliberate policy to boost tourism among member states. The call by the minister came on the heels of the resolve by the D8 to prioritize tourism development among members, as outlined by the Secretary General, Dr. Said Musavi, during a courtesy visit to the minister in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
The minister observed that it was not by coincidence that the countries with the highest traffic of tourists are those whose visas are least difficult to access. He told the DA Secretary General that tourism is one area that the present administration is committed to harnessing its potentials and the renewed drive to diversify the nation's economy.
Tourism has become not just sightseeing, it has become real politics today.
The minister, however, identified the dearth of infrastructure, access to tourism sites, preservation and conservation of cultural heritages, perception and failure to involve the locals in the tourism economy as one of the challenges confronting the development of tourism in Nigeria.
It's not by coincidence that the countries with the most fascinating tourists, attractions, heritages and monuments, they are struggling today to establish tourism.
Lai Mohammed therefore stressed the need for the D8 member states with similar challenges to close rank in order to make the economic bloc a tourist destination. Earlier, the Secretary General of the D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation, Dr. Said Musavi, said the organization is doing a lot to integrate its people, governments and economies in order to promote prosperity of member states. He said the D8 had been actively involved in the development of trade, industry, energy and transportation, but it recently resolved to delve into tourism because of its huge potentials for the economic development of member states. The D8 countries consist of Nigeria, Egypt, Malaysia, Indonesia, Iran, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Turkey. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Thanks, Anthony. It is likely that the Senate Committee on FCT may call for the revocation of some plots of land allocated to some members of the National Assembly that may have distorted the Abuja master plan. This discovery came to the fore when some private developers complained to the committee on its ongoing investigation on allocation of plots of land to individuals or groups. National Assembly correspondent Ifani Izumba reports.
Counsel to Minanwal Investment Limited, Falana and Falana's Chamber urged the Committee on FCT to advise Development Control Department of the Federal Capital Territory to grant its client building plan approval over plot ED 1425 to 1420, Lugbe Extension 1, Airport Road, now known as Kiami District, Abuja.
We had already been here before a joint committee of the Senate. We went to court and judgment was given in our favor to say the land in issue belongs to you. Then we are asking that we be allowed to redevelop the land and build an estate to give the house to those that have subscribed for the house.
June 20th, 2011, warning the general public they should stay away from buying or subscribing into any plot of land being developed as an estate. So it was after this Minanuel started the development of their estates.
Chairman Senate Committee on FCT, Dino Melaye, who said the general impression is that some of the lands were allocated to lawmakers, stressed that if the committee finds out it is true, it will recommend revocation.
You cannot be requested to mediate in a land dispute and you now become the ultimate beneficiary of that same land. You destroyed 572 houses and then allocated the same land to senators. That one is already an infringement on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
While the committee demands that all relevant documents, including the court papers, be forwarded to it, investigation continues. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Isumba, NT News.
Comptroller General of Customs Colonel Hamid Ibrahim Ali says modern arms and ammunition will be provided alongside aircraft for the enhancement of anti-smuggling patrol along Nigeria's borders. He stated this at the 2016 budget defense before the House Committee on Customs. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The 2016 capital expenditure of over 21 billion naira will be spent on various programs and schemes introduced to better the activities of the service. They include the provision of seaboats, survey equipment, and industrial pollution control. The Comptroller General says introduction of improved welfare schemes and provision of adequate tools to the personnel is geared towards boosting their morale and efficiency.
It's a comprehensive program with a view to maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of the system in place and has put Nigeria in full control of its customs border management affairs.
We should come up with policies, strong policies, and enforce it. Administrative policies that will protect our local industries.
The need for the amendment of the law establishing the Nigeria Customs Service, which has been in existence since 1988, and the effort to ensure clearing services within 48 hours also formed a part of the budget defense. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Thanks, Abdullahi. The federal government has expressed satisfaction with the performance of the media since it came into power. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this when the members of the International Press Institute visited him in Abuja. Anthony Forsin reports.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed told members of the International Press Institute, led by Kabiru Yusuf, that government is impressed with the conduct of the Nigerian media since it came into power.
Especially in our anti-corruption, fight, in our national security awareness campaign, in our fight against terrorism. I think the media has done very well. Of course, the media and the government anywhere in the world would never agree on all issues. But I think where it matters most, we've agreed. And I'm happy too that the media gradually is yielding to our call, which is that in a time of emergency, in a time of crisis, the media cannot afford to be neutral.
The minister said the International Press Institute, whose mandate it is to protect journalists and bring to the fore issues that weigh them down, the federal government, he said, is equally committed to the welfare of journalists in Nigeria.
When we were there in the opposition, we worked together very, very harmoniously with the IPI. And there's no reason why we should not work together now. Because what we stand for, especially as Minister of Information, which is the welfare, the security and safety of the practitioners, should also be the major concern of this ministry. So I believe that we have a meeting place.
Kabiru Yusuf, on his part, said the visit is to solicit support from the minister and make the institute vibrant in Nigeria. He added that if Nigeria can host the 2017 edition of the institute's annual conference, it will further open Nigeria to the world. This year's International Press Institute General Conference will hold in Doha, Qatar in April this year. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
In another development, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has called on the 8th National Assembly to enact laws that will compel Nigerians in all sectors of the economy to contribute meaningfully to the global fight against climate change. The minister made the call during an interactive session with the House Committee on Climate Change. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
With the consequences of global warming and other negative effects of climate change now evident, the minister is concerned about the widespread usage of non-biodegradable materials in the country. He explains what the ministry is doing to bring to the consciousness of Nigerians the urgency of the situation for the sake of future generations.
Many of our people are incorrigible. They've led the last 50 years of their lives and they think nothing of throwing sachet water nylon paper on the street. Those generations are lost when it comes to environmental education. We must start with the younger ones so that in 20 years' time, in 30 years' time, those children would be the ones that will keep the environment safe.
This is something that should be led by the Ministry of the Environment. This is something that I think all of us must then support the ministry as levels of minimum compliance to which we all will sign.
The chairman of the House Committee on Climate Change, Sam Onuigbo, assures that the National Assembly is putting the global threat on the front burner.
We intend to come out with a law that has the power, the reach, to get to different wrongs.
It is expected that the House Committee on Climate Change will engage other ministries, departments and agencies with a view to charting concrete plans on the way forward. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Many thanks, Dennis. This is Nationwide on the NTA. UNICEF comes hard on violence against children. This and more reports as we join Abdullahi in our legal center. Abdullahi, it's over to you.
Thanks, Lydia. A new action plan that will help in tackling issues of violence against children has been launched in Lagos by the United Nations Children Education Fund, UNICEF. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode, who launched the action plan, restated the commitment of government to ensure that all children are safe from abuse and violence as well as exploitation.
That was the unveiling of the summary report on violence against children in Nigeria. According to the research carried out by the National Population Commission, 80% of children in Nigeria are emotionally, physically and sexually violated by their confidants. Chairman, National Population Commission, Eze Duru Ihioma, while delivering his report, explained that the protection of children should not be left to their parents alone, as it is the duty of all. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode, represented by the Deputy Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly, Sonny Eshilokun, at the forum, used the opportunity to appeal to people to shun acts capable of violating the fundamental rights of children in Nigeria.
The public should know that the violence against children takes many forms, like in meting out punishment or sanctions to children. The sanction must be appropriate, it must not be malicious, and it must not be cruel.
Speaking out is one of the most important aspects to end violence against children. And when they get the confidence that they know they're protected because someone listens to what they're saying, I think sometimes we adults think that what children are saying is not correct and we don't listen to them. So we adults need to listen to kids to make sure that they're able to be protected. So,
though we've been doing it, but we want to attack it more aggressively to ensure that violence comes to an end.
Some participants also comment.
I will say to the parent that stop violating your children.
At the end of the forum, it was agreed that stringent laws should be put in place to tackle this issue, and violators will face the full wrath of the law.
On some health matters now, the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria says it is no longer business as usual for quacks in the sector, as its task force has begun a clampdown on illegal laboratories in the country. Chairman National Task Force on Laboratory and In Vitro Diagnosis Inspection made this known at a media briefing in Lagos. Joy Kenagbakoya reports.
Research suggests that 70% of indices required for effective disease management or surveillance emanate from medical laboratories, and as such, it is important that results from laboratories are accurate, reliable, and reproducible. Chairman of the task force, Lorena Okoro, says this is why the group is out to ensure quality service by ridding the sector of fake and substandard kits, chemicals, equipment, and consumables.
There are no justifiable reasons for any practitioner or any facility to engage in unethical practices. It can no longer be business as usual in the medical laboratory services sector.
The chairman says 28 laboratories have been sealed in Lagos for failing to meet minimum standards, while 4 persons have been apprehended for quackery and impersonation.
We found somebody giving out certain results that are only compatible with people who are in the mortuary.
Citizens are also encouraged to be more vigilant and to patronize only facilities approved by council, as an unreliable test result is worse than no result.
The Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria is empowered by government to inspect, regulate, and accredit medical laboratories across the country. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News.
Stakeholders in the aviation industry have converged on Lagos to review the Civil Aviation Investigation of Air Accident and Incidents Regulations of 2006, which was promulgated 10 years ago. A draft amendment was presented to stakeholders for their input at the workshop in Lagos. Vera Chumuba reports that the review of the policy is to make it in tandem with its counterparts around the world.
The review of the existing 2006 operational rules of AIB became pertinent in order for the aviation industry to conform with the updated International Civil Aviation Organization standards and recommended practices. Since the current policy came into operation 10 years ago, there had been a series of amendments to Accident and Investigation by ICAO in line with Regulation 22, which stipulates review from time to time to conform with Annex 13 of ICAO. But Nigeria is yet to incorporate that in AIB operational rules, and doing that requires stakeholders' input.
Not just to comply with the annexing, but rather we must operate at a bit higher level.
The act was just passed for the convenience to make sure that we qualify for the ICAO audit of 2006.
Commissioner Accident Investigation Bureau said the workshop is seeking the aviation community's suggestions for proposed amendment.
It's for people to raise the issue and we debate on. We want to be transparent in this exercise.
The technical assistant to the Minister of State for Aviation, Captain Musa Nuhu, who represented the minister, reminded the gathering that safety is non-negotiable and that the outcome should be geared towards rebuilding the aviation sector. In Lagos, Vera Chumuba, NTA News.
In its bid to improve criminal investigation as well as prevent crimes, the Lagos State government has perfected plans to establish a DNA forensic center. This was disclosed by the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and Deniji Kazim while addressing journalists at the State Press Center in Alausa. Nosausula tells us more.
The Lagos State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Adeniji Kazim, said the Ambode-led administration is committed to judicial reforms and crime prevention in the state. The commissioner also added that DNA evidence is one of the most effective tools available in modern law enforcement.
You, however, agree with me that Nigeria, and indeed Lagos, has continued to face more sophisticated crimes and criminals who are determined to escape the long arm of the law. Therefore, our crime fighting has to become more measured and concerted, especially when it comes to using technology that makes investigation and prosecution and adjudication more effective.
The director of the State Office of the Public Defender, Omotola Rotimi, stated that DNA technology is often the critical factor in prosecuting the guilty and exonerating the innocent.
It's going to be useful for the police as well. It's going to make their work much, much easier. You know, rather than extorting confessions from the suspects and everything, when at the end of the day, maybe the court will have to throw it out to say it was not given voluntarily. It will no longer be there because your DNA will speak for you.
The commissioner assured residents that the state's DNA Forensic Center will be up and running in 12 months. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
And that's the news from the Lagos end here. Lydia will continue in Abuja. Lydia, hope you're ready.
Many thanks, Abdullahi. The Supreme Court says at no time did it order the National Assembly members elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party from Anambra State to vacate their seat. This is effectively the import of a ruling delivered by the Apex Court on Wednesday, even though the court declined jurisdiction of the INEC's motion to provide interpretation for its earlier judgment. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo reports.
The Supreme Court realized that politicians had used that earlier judgment to cause confusion in the polity, and so, while declining jurisdiction in order not to fall foul of its processes, still went ahead to ask some vital questions which put paid to any perceived confusion, if there was any, in that earlier judgment. The court struck out your motion but still gave a clarification.
INEC was certain that there was nothing in it that asked Ogwebegu Group to take over the functions of National Executive Committee. And in paragraph 7 of our affidavit, we stated clearly that those who are in the National Assembly now were nominees of the National Executive Committee of the PDP. So how can you now want to, from the back door, bring in people who are not nominated by the National Executive Committee?
To look at the Supreme Court's refusal to assume jurisdiction on INEC's request for interpretation alone would be elementary in the light of the very probing questions which Justice John Inyangokoro, who wrote the lead judgment, posed on his earlier judgment.
For PDP, we got what we needed, and that is to have the court make a pronouncement as to whether the judgment they delivered had anything to do with substituting representatives at the Senate and at the House of Representatives. So it puts paid to the fact that nothing has changed.
There is no confusion at all because the court never at any time said or pronounced that the AGK Ogwebegu-led executive was to take over the functions. No, that is not the issue.
He also asked if the issue of the Anambra PDP legislators was at any time an issue before the Supreme Court after their elections had been litigated through the Election Petition Tribunals and the Court of Appeal, which was the terminal point.
First of all, it was not even before the court. The court cannot pronounce on something that was not before them.
The Supreme Court unanimously agreed that upholding the Federal High Court's recognition of AGK Ogwebegu's chairmanship did not amount to him taking over the duties of the National Executive on the party primaries.
Some people, out of their own selfish purposes, have continued to misguide the general public. Even the press has been misguided by these same people, telling them what the Supreme Court has not decided. This will never say they should go and sack people at National Assembly. The
Supreme Court warned lawyers to always guide their clients on the proper interpretation of court pronouncements. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
Nigerians have continued to frown at the recent decision by the National Electricity Regulatory Commission to increase electricity tariff. These concerns were expressed on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live as the guest stressed that the move does not augur well for development. Talato Ezerike reports.
On the 1st of February this year, the National Electricity Regulatory Commission announced a new tariff regime in electricity that has attracted debate and criticism.
We don't see the light, but the price is high.
The concerns for many include the near absence of available electricity, lack of enough meters for consumers, other sharp practices, and even the refusal of the regulatory body to listen to advice in stopping the increment.
There is need for the discourse and NEC to listen to Nigerians. For example, the court said, don't increase. You went ahead to say it. The National Assembly said, wait, reverse. You said no. It is you alone. The Labour said, no, we are also stakeholders in this business.
Nigerians are saying, meter them and they will pay. Okay. And not for you to give them estimated bills. How did you come about this increase? And the increase is so outrageous. From 14 naira, somebody is paying 20-something naira.
For the regulatory body, they are interested in providing constant electricity, which is achievable through the new electricity pricing regime, and therefore want people not to join electricity with politics.
Every single cover that we collect as discos goes through the value chain. For the generation companies, they also have to pay the gas suppliers. Because we know for a fact that so many privileged Nigerians were not paying for electricity. This was a system that was neglected and the rot was there for 50 years.
What constitutes price or cost reflective tariff? We are in Nigeria. The Nigerian gas company is sourcing gas from Nigeria, is producing gas in Nigeria, is selling this gas to the gencos that are generating electricity, selling this electricity to Nigerians in naira, and yet they are selling it in dollars.
Experts strongly want the Regulatory Body Act to be reviewed for checks and balances. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
Thanks, Talatu. You are watching Nationwide on the NTA. We now take a break to bring you some messages. The news continues shortly.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Our founding fathers worked to establish certain standards of governance. Some of their successors behaved like spoiled children, breaking everything and bringing disorder to the house.
The leaders at that time, as well as those of us that followed them, were patriotic. They went into politics to serve, but not to be served. To give, but not to take.
The laws are there, the regulations are there, financial regulations. It is people doing things wrong and not being sanctioned that led to this escalation.
What is going on now? We are beginning to lift up the quality of leadership. So we are hopeful that it will lead to a stable economy.
We must not succumb to hopelessness and defeatism. We can fix our problems.
This week on Airtel Touching Lives. We visit a family that lost their father and 2 mothers, leaving them with nowhere to live. And we meet a family that is struggling to care for their children that suffer from heart conditions.
I don't want to lose my daughter. So Almighty God, please help me. Oh God of Redeemer, God of Reable, Redeemer, please come and help me and put my daughter in order.
Brothers and sisters. Though we speak different languages and celebrate different cultures, we were still one Nigeria. There was no bombing, there was no kidnapping, and our children were not cultists. Now, we suspect one another as there are spreads of cultism, bombing, and kidnapping. How long shall this go on? Terrorism is alien. Kidnapping is criminal. Cultism is barbaric. Nigeria is a blessed country. Support the Nigeria Police and the fight against terrorism, kidnapping and cultism. Always inform the police of any incident around you. Say something when you suspect something.
Remember, we all have a stake in building a crime-free Nigeria of our dream.
This message is from the Nigeria Police Force.
Now, you can hold that dream occasion without stress. Horizon Caterers will provide answers to all your catering questions. Exquisite hall designs, mouth-watering and nourishing local and continental cuisine, suitable for all types of ceremonies, including weddings, AGMs, business luncheon, cocktails. Name it, we can bring it. Our chefs and executive waiters give your guests that unforgettable experience in service. Our service covers all states of the Federation. Call us today to book your occasions. 0805-502-9637, 0803-450-9726, 0909-9708-111. Horizon Caterers, experience catering beyond the horizon.
Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome back. You're watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Enugu State Governor's wife identifies with the physically challenged in the state. Chirogonu is our guide from that zone. Over to you.
Good afternoon, lady, and welcome to Enugu. The new Commander 39 Base Services Group, Nigerian Air Force Enugu, Air Commodore Ebenezer Olayinka Alade, says he is committed to ensuring the provision of adequate security for the Nigerian Air Force personnel and equipment in line with the vision of the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar. He was speaking while taking over from the outgoing commander, Air Commodore Emmanuel Festus Gullit. Chinayongoye has the report.
The new commander, Air Commodore Ebenezer Olayinka Alade, had on arrival at the 39 Base Services Group of the Nigerian Air Force Enugu, inspected a guard of honor. Speaking after taking over from the outgoing commander, Air Commodore Alade said there was need to ensure adequate security for the Nigerian Air Force personnel and equipment in line with the Chief of Air Staff's vision of repositioning the Nigerian Air Force into a highly professional and disciplined force for effective response to Nigeria's national security imperatives. He, however, sued the cooperation of the members of the public to ensure adequate security of lives and property.
By and by, we are here to ensure the service delivers to the country. The DSG is here to ensure that the pilots, the engineers, they are well taken care of.
The outgoing commander, Air Commodore Emmanuel Festus Gullit, who assumed office on the 8th of September 2015, has been redeployed to Lagos as the Commander 104 Personnel Management Group. The new commander, Air Commodore Ebenezer Alade, was before now the Director of Transformation, Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Abuja. In Enugu, Chinayongoye, NTA News.
The wife of the Enugu State Governor, Mrs. Monica Ugwanyi, says she would continue to speak on behalf of the handicapped in the state and canvass for the passage into law the Enugu State Special Needs Bill. She was speaking while receiving members of the Enugu Civil Society Disability Policy Partnership at the Government House, Enugu. Again, Chinenye Nwoye tells us more.
Accompanied on the visit by their patron and Archbishop of Enugu Province Anglican Communion, the members of the group regretted that persons with disabilities do not have equal access to their society or services including education, employment, healthcare, transportation, and justice. While commending the wife of the governor for her contributions to the removal of some of the barriers to their inclusions, they noted that when passed into law, the special bill will introduce a solution to the myriads of challenges facing them.
To present to you the Enugu State Special Needs Bill, Your Excellency support with lobbying the Enugu State House of Assembly to pass the Special Needs Bill into law.
The wife of the governor advised members of the group to make the best application of their God-given talents, promising to make their needs known to the governor and other stakeholders.
And since I promised to be your voice, to present your case to His Excellency, to whosoever that wants to hear. And I promise you I will do it.
Advocate and patron of the group, Archbishop Emmanuel Chukwuma, as well as the legal advisor, Dr. Gastime Okafo, said persons with disabilities do not need pity, but empowerment through provision of effective legislation. High point of the event was the group's conferment of the Voice of the Handicapped Award on the wife of the governor in recognition for her contributions to the empowerment of disabled persons in the state. In Enugu, Chinenye Nwoye, NTA News.
Health experts have advised farmers to always site farms away from residential areas to avoid outbreak of diseases. Chimobi Walter Naji has the details.
Before now, poultry or piggery farms are sited in industrial areas to avoid the outbreak of diseases and to ensure compliance as health workers conduct regular checks. However, in recent times, it is no longer the case as poultry and piggery farms are sited in residential areas, thereby causing pollution and possible outbreak of diseases. These farms, who in some cases are served with injunctions from the Environmental Protection Court to relocate their farms, ignore such injunctions. Ishasha Topland residents in Enugu, for instance, have been passing through what they describe as nightmare, as their only source of water has been polluted with animal dung.
The recondo fire upon the physics of this produce, this piggery, and it will begin to foam over the night. And the odor tend to flow over up to 3 or 4 kilometers away.
I did not know that this place is in this condition. No one will visit here and go out with joy.
The Director of Public Health, Enugu State, Dr. Okechukwu Osai, speaks on environmental pollution and its effect on the people.
This time around that we are talking of, most of the disease outbreaks are now linked to animal, what we call the zoonotic diseases. It is now expedient and imperative that states should come down heavily on people who flout these laws.
Dr. Osai maintained that for Nigeria to achieve the Vision 2020 in the health sector, the people must ensure a clean and safe environment. In Enugu, Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
That's it from Enugu. Over now to you, Lydia, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Chegonu. The federal government will soon revoke the licenses of minerals mining sites that have laid dormant over the years. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, stated this while on a working visit to an informal gold mining site at Korokpa in Chanchaga local government area of Niger North Central, Nigeria. In the company of the Minister of State, Abubakar Buhari, the minister told the miners that the move is in line with President Buhari's mandate for the solid mineral sector to be a major contributor to the nation's economy. He advised them to form themselves into registered cooperatives to do legal business so as to benefit from training and to access credible facilities, noting that illegalities must stop. The minister also visited the Niger State Governor, Alhaji Sani Bello, and the Emir of Mina, Dr. Farouk Bahago, where he emphasized the need for states to partner the ministry for the benefit of the citizenry. We apologize for the poor audio on that film report. 17 people in Taraba State for diversion of petroleum products. These and more as we join Pam in Makudi. Hello, Pam. Good to see you.
Welcome to Makudi. Management of various tertiary institutions in Benue State have been tasked to evolve ways of generating revenue without creating burdens on students in the face of economic challenges. Governor Samuel Otom handed down the directive during the inauguration of the visitation panels to some tertiary institutions in the state. Achigili Magaji has the report.
The institutions are the College of Education Uju with Professor Gajin as chairman, College of Education Kasinala with Professor Aloy Ihu as chairman, and the Benue State Polytechnic Ubokolo with Professor Yakubu Ochefa as its chairman. Their terms of references include to examine the finances of the institutions in the area of revenue generation, expenditure, transparency, accountability and observance of due process. How the institution invests and apply funds, especially special grants as well as loans meant for specific projects, and to define the status of such projects and their relevance.
We must at all times begin to look at creative ways of supporting government. And so the issue of AGIA in our institutions must be looked into.
The panels, which have 1 month to submit their reports, are also to recommend ways that will assist government to reposition the institutions for enhanced service delivery and global competitiveness. In Makudi, Achigli Magaji, MT News.
The Taraba State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 17 suspects for alleged diversion of petroleum products. While parading the suspects in Jalingo, the State Commandant of the Corps, Kamilu Isa Ado, said the command is ready to partner with other security agencies to curb criminal activities. Ado Adamu also has more.
Parading the suspects for the alleged diversion of petroleum products, the commandant, Kamilu Ado, disclosed that they were caught selling the commodity to black marketers in the night. While describing the act as sabotage, he said petroleum marketers would be made to face the wrath of the law as a means of ensuring compliance to the government-approved prices.
This product is meant for terribles. And I believe the federal government and maybe the state government subsidize this product meant for the population of this state.
The commandant also paraded another 11 suspects for theft, burglary and terrorizing residents of Jalingo, the state capital. Kamilu Ado, while calling for more synergy among security organizations to fight crime in the state, he solicited for the cooperation of the general public by volunteering information. All the suspects, he said, will be charged to the court. In Jalingo, Ado Adamu also, NTA News.
Well, that will be it from Makuru. Lydia, it's over to you now for the rest of Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Pam. The Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arasi, has urged officers and men of the Nigeria Police to connect with the socio-cultural environment they find themselves in the course of duty. This, he said, is one of the ways to achieve greater efficiency in the Nigeria Police. Dennis Temple reports.
Community partnership, respect for fundamental rights of citizens, alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, among others, were some of the new measures advocated by the Inspector General of Police in his drive towards repositioning the Nigerian police for greater efficiency.
I expect that officers who are going about investigation, they must be able to gather sufficient evidence or intelligence before they invite people to our facilities.
The Abia State Governor Dr. Okeze Bazo remarked that the interface between the police and the public is apt. He said his administration is willing to partner with the police to guarantee safe and secure environment for business to thrive. This, according to him, accounts for the provision of facilities for the police, The target, according to the governor, is to position the vehicles within every city center in the state.
We understand the symbolism of this gesture and we understand what you want to achieve. And that is to say that on our part, through various channels which we have created, including PC, RC, including traditional rulers, including students, we now feel free that we can relate with police officers wherever we see them to help us police our state better.
In all, 20 operational vehicles equipped with modern security gadgets were handed over to the Inspector General of Police. In Umuahia, Dennis Temple, NTA News.
Ondo State Governor promises completion of ongoing projects. These and more reports as we join Agatha in Benin. Over to you.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening and many thanks for joining us in Benin. As the second-term administration of Governor Olusegun Mimiku of Ondo State gradually winds down, government has expressed its determination to complete all ongoing projects. It was an inspection of construction work on the dualization of the Akure-Obaile Airport Road. Doris Olumoko reports.
The Akure-Obaile Airport Road is about 9 kilometers, traversing several communities. The road is very strategic to socio-economic development of the state because of its very busy nature, recording high vehicular flow. Construction work on the road is nearing completion when the governor and his entourage visited.
It's satisfactory, it's going on well. The quality is good. They are doing well and the job is being prosecuted to specification. So I'm satisfied with what I've seen.
The governor, who assured that all ongoing major projects embarked upon by the administration will be completed, explained that creative financial engineering is responsible for the success recorded. The governor also inspected the dualized Parliament Road, where construction work has already been completed and it is expected to be commissioned soon.
Basically, what we've done is to touch on the major roads. We've used population density as one of our yardsticks. At the end of last year, we had done a total of 95 roads. So we're continuing this year. We hope to do another, even more, much more than 95, because we are in full swing now.
In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
For effective service delivery and high sense of professionalism to be entrenched in the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazao, says the officers must key into the change agenda of the President Buhari-led administration. Ngozi Ogbonna reports that the minister stated this at inauguration of the new passport office in Warri, Delta State.
The minister said the policies, programs and initiatives of the Ministry of Interior have been fine-tuned.
This government and the administration and the Ministry of Interior, and of course the leadership of the Nigerian Immigration Service will never condone any act that betrays the confidence and trust of the services, immigration services, particularly the issuance passport.
And now we take our global tidbits with Ronke Kolawole.
UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has advocated more economic development in Central Africa to rehabilitate parts of the region that have been devastated by armed conflicts. He spoke at the opening of a two-day conference to showcase investment opportunities in the group's 12 member states. In Kenya, government will be sending more students to Israel to learn dryland farming technology and automated agriculture to promote food production. The South African Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan says the country's economy is in crisis and called for tax increase and control of what he referred to as wasteful and corrupt government spendings. In Libya, forces loyal to the eastern government have taken control of two key neighborhoods in Benghazi from Islamist militants, a development which caused residents to jubilate while many returned to their homes. On the mountainous western Nepal, a small passenger plane has crashed, claiming all the 23 lives on board. The victims were mostly Nepalese. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NT News.
Sports is next with Amanzi Marcus.
2016 football season in Nigeria began in earnest with a match commissioner seminar in Abuja with over 1,000 participants. Another set of match officials, the referees, took their turn for 3 days at the Abuja National Stadium in the fitness test, also organized by the Nigeria Football Federation. While all went as planned in the top tier of Nigeria's domestic football league, the same cannot be said of the remaining three: the National League, the Nationwide League, and the Women's Football League. The league management company, which came on board without election in 2012, has been able to organize the Nigeria Professional Football League for 3 seasons, as the board members were selected by the NFF. Tenure of board members of the remaining 3 football leagues expired in October 2015, and the Nigeria Football Federation Congress of December 2015 voted to constitute new board members by selection instead of organizing the normal board elections as obtainable in the past.
We want them to set up an electoral committee to tell reaching out forms for people who want to run for elective position in the Nigerian National League. That way, an election will be done, and we can now move forward.
If they don't want to hold congresses, we will not play the league.
The Nigerian Football Federation is the creator of all of the leagues, and so they are a subordinate to the Nigerian Football Federation. If we say elections, it's our business. If we say selection, it's our business.
The Nigeria Professional Football League has 20 club sides, while the National League has 32. The Women's League has 14 club sides in the Premier League and 13 in the second tier, the Nigeria Women Professional League. The Nationwide League has 40 club sides in Division 1, 60 in Division 2, and 65 in the third tier. The kickoff dates of the 3 lower leagues is in contention. In another twist to the raging controversy, the Nigeria Football Federation has jettisoned the kickoff dates and instead constituted 3 committees to restructure the National, Nationwide, and Women's League and report within 4 weeks. This is the FIFA Goal Projects building in the Package B section of the Abuja National Stadium, which accommodates offices of Nigeria's 3 lower leagues. 11 of 14 club sides in the Nigeria Women Premier League have registered for the new season, and so are 21 of 40 club sides in Division 1 of the Nigeria Nationwide League. Whether the Nigeria Football Federation will have its way in selecting board members or conduct elections as demanded by tradition and club owners, only time will tell. In Abuja, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
And that's Nationwide. Thank you for watching. Good evening.
Breaking the news, we are Africa's largest network. Africa's largest network. Second to none. The first, the biggest, the best.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the You Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
This is The Street.